Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Gus.
Hi Gus, nice to meet you.
Hi,
Siggy.
I'm Joe.
Hi
Lovely
Joe,
to meet you.
nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Hi Tom, nice to meet you.
You too.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for
How are
having
you
us, yeah.
doing?
Very well, thank
Splendid.
Yeah? You've been playing 60 shows in 3 months. That sounds very, very intense. How are you holding up?
you. We're all good. We're all
Yeah.
good.
I think you're kind of conditioned to this lifestyle after a while. You know, we've been doing it for 10 years, so it really is all we know, and this is our normal. So doing 60 shows, when you actually put a number to it, I suppose it does sound pretty
Crazy.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know any better.
But no, that's
Yeah.
what we do, and it's fun. You know,
Yeah.
you get to a point where you do need to play that many shows to feel comfortable playing, and you know, mid-season form is, I think, where we're at right now. So yeah.
Is there like a secret to staying sane? Because it feels normal, but it actually isn't, right?
Yeah, I just realised I've just scratched myself somewhere.
Get that on camera.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Safari. There's a lion. Hi. Secret to staying sane. I think that we have a laugh with each other. You know, we try to nurture your friendship as well as your creative and professional relationship is probably important. You know, spend quality time together, but also give each other space when we need space, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know if you can remember, because you just mentioned the fact that you've been doing this for 10 years. And 9 years ago, you were playing at the very first edition of this festival, Best Kept Secret
Right, was
Festival.
it? Was it really?
Yeah, it was the very first edition. And back then, you just released your debut album. And I remember you guys saying that you thought that you didn't think that you would have like a big audience. You thought you were just going to be critically acclaimed, some indie fans. But then you guys were playing here, and like the tent was like overflowing with people who wanted to watch your shows. Do you remember that moment? Were you guys shocked because it was nothing like you expected your career to be?
I think it's amazing to be playing in countries that, you know, you never really imagined visiting, and to have a sort of a fan base there where they know your lyrics and they're singing along to you. It was kind of like routinely overwhelming, I think, for us in the early stages, because we saw so many different cultures and people, and it was just amazing that we were kind of bonded together through the work that we'd done leading up to the release of our first album. So yeah, I think it's kind of mesmerizing, and I think even now it's still you can't help but smile on stage when you have like thousands of people singing along to your work that you're very proud of, and they're very connected to. So
Yeah.
it's a wonderful synergy, I think, of an experience.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I was thinking about that timeline of you not expecting to blow up that much. And then you have this song on your album, Hard Drive Gold, which is like about a kid who basically achieves his dreams overnight of like becoming a millionaire, right? And it reminded me of you guys a little bit. Were you guys able to, you just touched on it a little bit, but were you guys able to handle that explosion that you didn't really expect?
Yeah, I think, you know, luckily we have good friends. We don't spend too much time like living like famous people. You know, when we're at home in London, we kind of hang out with our, you know, friends that we grew up with and with our families and stuff. And, you know, we don't really engage in like the kind of celebrity world that much. So I think if we'd really like chased that, if we really wanted to go to the, you know, the fashion parties and this kind of thing, I think we would have very different lives. But actually, we've never really shown much of an interest in that side of things. And so I think that actually we've managed to retain quite a lot of anonymity as individuals despite being in a famous band, which is kind of perfect, really.
So is that like an active choice that you have to make?
Kind of. I think you do have to make certain choices about how talking about sanity. You know, I think being grounded is very important, but I don't think that it's much effort. I think we've always maintained like our focus on authenticity and being honest with each other, and I don't think we're just not the kind of people that focus on the peripheral stuff too much anyway. I think for us it's natural to focus on the music, and because it all comes to that at the end of the day. If you start to focus on too much outside of that, then the music is jeopardized, and that's what we're known for, and that's what we're good at. So that's the main focus. Everything else is, there's things that are nice, you know,
course.
being recognized and being complimented, that kind of being invited to things. It's all very, very nice, and we're fortunate. But I think our personalities are just a little bit more kind of, I don't know, laid back and grounded.
Yeah. What was the album process like for The Dream? Was it an enjoyable process? Because you just like there's so many years now. You're at a different point in your lives, in your careers. Maybe you don't have like the need to prove yourself anymore. I don't know. Like, what was it like?
Well, we were afforded a lot of time to, I suppose, write and as a result of that, enjoy what we were doing. I think
it was in 2020, wasn't it? We
Yeah.
started, so
Of course, yeah,
everything
yeah.
was just, there was a lot more, there was just time.
Yeah, we had like 6 weeks at the beginning of 2020 where we were just kind of coming together again and reconnecting. Because reconnection is like a really important part of the writing process, because for a lot of bands it takes them a while to rediscover each other creatively, and for us it kind of clicks in quite quickly. But the first 6 weeks before lockdown happened was quite important. I'm glad that we had that 6 weeks, because we had 3 songs that we were working on. We kind of sort of like demoed those songs, and then we had something tangible, and we almost had like a shape to the album that we could take into lockdown and then work new material around those sort of 3 ideas that we had demoed. So it then just gave us so much time, which was great in a way. It was kind of silver lining to something that was actually so horrific for many families, I think, losing loved ones unexpectedly. And for us that didn't happen, but it allowed us to do what we do best, which is write in sort of like solitude, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now we're back at a festival again. We're back where we kind of were 2-3 years ago, and I know that there's one song who's like inspired by a festival experience one of you guys had.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the festival experience?
Well, that was the 1st of January 2020.
Yeah.
I was in Australia. I was in Melbourne, the Cobar Velodrome, and it was a festival, which was a day festival, and thousands and thousands of Australians were getting on it in peak summer, and it was incredibly hot, incredibly fun. There was a lot of extracurricular supplements that were enjoyed. I too sampled those things,
Yes.
and I just had an amazing time, and so I decided to write about it.
And you recorded yourself as well, right? There was a video.
There were many recordings that were made and sent to I think you
All right.
over the
Because you
course of
received
the.
a video.
I did. I received a couple of videos from Joe that day. Yeah, I could tell that he was having a good time just from the size of his pupils. Yeah, it was. I think it was just, you know, we were basically in the studio. We were just starting back. We were listening to some demos we'd made on tour, and there was this demo of a song which had this chorus. It's just you and me now. None of us remembered jamming it on stage in a sound check, and it was just, luckily it had been recorded by one of our crew. And I think the kind of spontaneous feeling of it lent itself well to that idea of a sort of fun day at a festival, you know, and just being with someone you love, and you know, nothing else in the world really mattering. And I think particularly as 2020 wore on and we got into February and March, and it became clear that, you know, this was not just a week-long news story. This was going to be something that would maybe affect, you know, our whole lives for goodness knows how long. I think that day at the festival took on extra meaning, given that, you know, it was almost like the last party before the world changed forever, but you didn't know it at the time, you know.
Yeah.
What is the magic from a festival? Because you just pointed it out perfectly. It's like a little village that's being like stomped out of the ground for like a weekend, and everybody just loses themselves.
I think you put it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just an escape from reality. It's like moving to a different town for 3 days. You know, you have different neighbours and you have different shops and different restaurants, and there's stuff going on all the time. I mean, you know, I've gone to festivals and hardly watched any music before. I've just kind of hung out and just had a good time, and that's sometimes the best thing to do. You know, it's not always about watching the bands, but
Don't watch us.
yeah, basically that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Just
basically.
stay at your tent and play cards. That's what I did when I went to Glastonbury for the first time. I had a really, really good weekend.
I love to hear the fact that you guys still like visit festivals just as visitors, not even playing music. Does it, I don't know, inspire your own performances when you go to a festival just as a visitor? Because, I mean, you can't really turn it off, right? You are a musician.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to look at other people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I can't really go to any kind of show without being a bit obsessed about the musicianship, what they're playing, like the instruments, and particularly drummers. Like,
Of course.
you know, if I go and see a show and there's a drummer, like kind of laser focused on them. I'm able to enjoy it, but it is hard to switch it off sometimes when you're on this side of it and you know how it all works, and you're kind of wondering how they got to the gig and like how they're feeling and that kind of stuff. It does happen.
Yeah. Are you still able to enjoy shows and festivals then?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think so.
It's a nice opportunity for us, you know, when we come to a festival to see other artists, maybe friends that we know, or artists who we've heard a lot about but haven't had a chance to see yet, you know. So it's always exciting. Like, who have we got playing today? Is it Leon Bridges? So
Yeah,
I've never seen him live.
No.
Excited to watch him. You
Yeah.
know, that'll be great.
Me too. Okay, so I have two last questions for you guys. The first one is, the album is called The Dream. I can imagine that 9 years ago you guys had a dream. Did you achieve that dream that you had 9 years ago when you were playing here for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very much so.
What was
Yeah.
the dream?
World domination.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think it's simply, the dream really is just managing to do what you have always wanted to do, and then for that to then become a job. You know, you don't have to work for anyone. You know, that's kind of the dream for many people, I imagine, being their own boss and writing things that connects with you, your bandmates, and then a wider audience is a wonderful feeling as well. And I think that's success for us as well.
So the last question is then, what is the dream today? Because you have to keep dreaming. You can't stop dreaming.
Never stop dreaming.
We're quite
do you have an
consistent.
answer?
I think
Yeah.
we're quite consistent in the sense that we don't have huge plans beyond hoping that each album is something that excites us when we start writing it. I think that consistency is really important to us, and maintaining that is really a question of keeping our friendship together. So if we have our friendship, then we have at least a good springboard to write together well. That's, you want to keep that going. I think that's the dream, to keep the chemistry alive and keep the excitement kind of sort of burning, I suppose. It's not a very interesting answer in a way,
No,
but
it is.
I think it's what makes us. It's kind of what makes us kind of who we are, I suppose. And like Tom said, grounded is something that we see as quite an important aspect of our career.
Stay grounded, but have massive success. Win a Grammy, or you know.
Yeah.
But be able to live with yourself.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks a lot.